you need warmer weather for that paint. So.
Okay. Well, I'll be around, so Nick can find me.
Okay, great. Any questions on the runway before I go on to the power line? Alrighty, so we had quite a bit of discussions the past month with the CIAC gross up tax. So we had a meeting on August 25th with all of the, all the people, all the alphabet groups that were really involved with taxes in the state. And the good news is that we found out that CIAC gross up tax is not applicable for the state of Indiana. They decoupled the IRC section 118 a couple of years ago. So that does reduce that tax from 11.9% to 8.76%. So that's a cost reduction of $165,000 for the project. So so that is significant. The portion that we are still trying to determine if they can tax us is the federal portion. So we have spoken with the FAA, and they are working with the region and with headquarters to try and find the language from FAA that says that they are, basically, what's the terminology? That they're, I'm blanking on terminology, tax, that they don't need to be taxed because they're a federal agency. So we're still waiting on that terminology from them. Again, last week when we heard from them, they said that they should be receiving something, tax exemption. Thank you, Nathan. I was having a brain fart. He just IM'd me the terminology I'm blanking on. So we should be hearing something from them this week. So hopefully that will take the tax out, and we will, go from 8.76% to 0% tax on this project. So,
Mary, I have one question. Mary, I have one question that I
Yep.
haven't asked about this, and maybe nobody has answered it. Why is this not a settled question one way or another?
why is it not a federal question?
Why is it not a settled question? I mean, it seems to me that we can't be the only folks that are doing projects with federal money. And why is this tax still a question, one way or the other? Do you know?
I'm not for sure. I think it is because of the it sounds like Nathan has an answer to that, so I'll let him get involved. He's been involved
Jay,
with it a little bit more than I have, so.
Jay, that's a great question, and I think what the basis of this is that it's a specific tax to a utility project such as this. It's not just a blanket. Every construction project that we do that will encounter this, it's specific to a utility project. And so the core question has been, and it's what we've been really drilling the FAA to help us find the answer to, is in some semblance there has to be a tax exemption clause somewhere, just like the state of Indiana has determined that if state funding is involved, it's no longer applicable. There has to be something that is federally similar. We haven't been able to find it, so we're exhausting all avenues before they determine that yes, it actually is applicable and it has to stay.
Okay, so it's really built around, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's built around the idea that federal grants such as this, which actually go to utilities that are doing work, that's a fairly rare bird. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes,
Okay.
that's fair. Yes.
Okay.
Nathan, if I can just step in.
There was one done 2 or 3 years ago over at Auburn with AEP.
Correct. So I'm going to read. This is from IRC 118, paragraph B, subsection 2, and this is the tax code that AEP is referencing. For purposes of this subsection, the term contribution to the capital of taxpayer does not include any contribution by a governmental entity or civic group other than a contribution made by a shareholder as such. They are claiming that that language means that because we are paying AEP to do this project, they must claim that money as income to their company. Because the way that they read the tax code and the way that they read this project is they are getting compensated to do this project. We are contending that that is not the case, that this is a project required by the airport and we are paying for direct costs of labor and product to lower those lines. AEP just needs basically letterhead stating, no, this project does not count towards that because it is the total number originally was 766,000. It's now down to about 600,000 without the state tax. And that's a substantial cut that they would have to pay if this project is not exempt.
But
So,
it wasn't an issue they dealt with up in Auburn.
not that I'm aware. So I can reach out to Russ again and see if he has any language or literature that and it could be something that they paid and they didn't even know about it up at Auburn.
I would say, I mean,
They've got
and that could be, it could
they
be
have a
that nobody's
different-
ever questioned the thing
Yeah.
before.
They have a different engineering firm, so, and I know Russ really well, so I'll reach out to Russ in the morning and see if he remembers anything about that. But it could be that their project was done before or under different tax code, and it could have been completely not a part of the project at that time, so that's another part of it as well.
Yeah. Okay, sorry to interrupt, Mary. Keep going.
Oh, no. You're fine. And I know that Nick has reached out to the city attorney who has hired Taft law firm to look into this as well. I don't believe we've heard back from them, but
We have not received an opinion yet, but they are hoping maybe this week we might get that.
okay. So that's the big holdup with the obstruction project right now is just we are waiting to find out more about this gross up tax. We don't want that 8.76%. That's about $600,000 that it adds to the project. So obviously, if we can make this project more cost effective, we're going to try to do that. So so that is the holdup there.
And I gather, I mean, these delays, and they're not unimportant delays, because obviously there's a lot of money involved, but in the long haul, at least at this point, it doesn't look like anything's happened yet to affect when we're likely to see lines moving out there, has it?
No, I mean, so basically we are able to get this grant from the FAA up until April of 2021. So that's the time frame that we have. So we really don't have any delays there. I know that I don't think that AEP had it on their radar to start design until this fall. Nathan, correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, I think, Jay, from a overall scheme of things, I think as long as we're able to get this resolved here this fall, I think we'll, just by coincidence, fall into line with what AEP was planning, even if we would have gotten the funding and grant and everything in July.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking there was a kind of a delay, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, just there was a gap of time between originally getting the grant and them actually starting to do any drawing, and there still seems to be some slack time built into that. So that's kind of what I was getting at. So. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. What else do you have for us, if anything?
Any other questions before I move on the obstruction lines, or power lines, excuse me?
Any other questions, guys?
Okay.
No?
Alrighty, hearing none, moving on to task order 3, the hangar door replacement. We provided about 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, a draft bid package to Nick and to the city engineer for review. I spoke with Nick beforehand, and I apologize that this hasn't been updated. They do have a few minor comments on that, but nothing earth-shattering for that package, and they do want to be bidding that soon. So I think Nick has a little bit of a more update on that.
Really and it is, I did not print it out. It's about 650 pages. I did attach it in board pack. You can pull it up and read it underneath the Zimmer door.
Their original draft bid package,
Correct.
650 pages,
Uh-huh.
that we pay you to review and a city engineer review?
Yes.
I think we're covered.
We're good.
Go ahead.
We're good. And so James and I read through everything. A lot of this bid package, the reason it is so long is they've included advisory circulars and different language from FAA and other published documents just to make sure that we've got our definitions down and we are really clearly defining this project. James and I looked through it, the scope, the work, everything else is really good. And if the board is okay with it, I would like to go ahead and make the final, by changes, I mean, we're adding dates, we're adding contact names, things like that, with CHA. And then if, with your approval, we'll go ahead and go out to bid here and hopefully have that published in the next week or so.
That sound okay? Anybody else want to spend more time reviewing the bid package?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to authorize completion and distribution of the bid package for the hangar door project.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Okay, does that help you, Mary?
That is very helpful. Thank you all. And that's all, those are all the updates that I have, unless anyone has anything for me.
Anything for the engineers right now?
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Good to talk to you again. Good to talk to you, Nathan.
Thank you all.
We're gonna let Nick talk
You
for a
bet,
while.
anytime.
We're gonna let Nick talk for a while now, so fire away,
Alrighty.
manager.
All right, so fuel usage report. Like I said last month, we're just continuing to write out this year. We're not seeing the huge increase that, I mean, nobody's expecting it. I'm guessing that we will end this year pretty close to half of the fuel sales of where we were last year. That's just based on my gut. Right now, we're at about 60% of where we were last year. And the reason I think we're gonna end around half is Thanksgiving to Christmas. There's almost no flights as it is, so I really think it's gonna taper down even more. Though I will say, general aviation has definitely picked up. We're selling a lot more avgas than we have in a long time, which is good. I'm glad that GA pilots are out, they're flying, and they're doing what they do. Jet traffic has just not come back hardly at all, specifically corporate traffic. That's what we're really, really missing, is the corporates flying in and out. But outside of that, or the income statement, unless you guys have specific questions at all, we can move on to unfinished business and one thing under new business. And
Any questions about income, fuel?
No.
all right.
Okay, you're gonna go to hay mowing now?
Yeah, so last month we brought up a discussion looking into what kind of agreements, or do we want to go out to bid for land lease or anything for hay mowing inside of the airport. We've had a few different individuals come out and do some soil testing and some ground testing, and it looks like to get a proper yield where we are actually, I invited a few farmers out just to look and see if it's something they would be interested in. Right now, because the ground has not been worked in so long, there's going to be quite a bit of prep work to get us to the point where we could actually receive bids to lease this out. And farmers are not going to take on a capital expense of putting money into the ground on a chance that maybe they will recoup that in a 3 to 5 year land lease. So if the board is okay with it, what I would like to do is work with the current farmer that we have. And it's, we won't be making money. He's not gonna be making a whole lot, but we're gonna test a couple different sites out at the airport, putting some lime into the ground, overseeding a couple areas, see what we can do to get the best yield out of that area over the next couple years. And once we get a couple growing seasons under our belt, I'll be able to come back with a much better report of this is what worked, this isn't what worked, and this is what we can really look at moving forward over the next 3 to 5 years to try and turn that into something that's profitable for the airport. I think it's gonna be a great deal. I think up front we might have 5,000 or 6,000 in expenses, but we will save that next year and not having to mow those areas alone. So I think that it's gonna be cost negative for the airport in that cost savings, and that's something that I would like to try over the next 24 calendar months, if you guys are okay with that.
Okay.
We don't need any official action, I just wanted to update you, that's where we are right now.
Okay.
And then that leads us on to hangar sale of hangar 21B. The estate of Wayne Campbell is asking, Wayne Campbell was a longtime member of the airport family. He passed away about a year ago, and they've been working through the estate and everything. Star Financial Bank is the personal representative of the estate, and they would like to give notice of the intent to sell hangar 21B to Hammer Aviation Services LLC. The owner of that is Todd Hammer, and the total purchase price is $20,500. And they asked the board to waive their right of first refusal to allow that sale to go through.
Any interest in buying the hangar?
Nope.
Any interest in buying the hangar?
Not right now.
Okay.
Which one's 21B?
It's over by Steve Ashton. It's the one due east of Steve, on the north side of the Biomed hangar. That row right there.
So I move that we waive first rights to buy hangar 21B.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to waive rights under the lease contract to purchase hangar 21B. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, saying nay. Motion carried.
Which leads us into a
Lease agreement?
new lease agreement for Hammer Aviation Services LLC. They would be leasing Airport Hangar Site 21B, starting today, and then that would last through December 31st, 2040, with one option to renew for 10 years. And the rent for that would be $150 a year.
So I need a motion to approve that lease.
I'll make a motion to approve that lease.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, saying nay. Motion carried.
And that is all I have, unless you guys have any other questions or comments for me.
Anything else for the airport manager?
What was the amount of that sale again? Just
$20,500.
I know that October, we usually have a scheduling issue because of the annual aviation.
It is digital this year,
Okay.
so I will be here.
Okay. Well, I wanted to raise it because I remember that it was coming up, so. Okay, hearing nothing further for the good of the order, we will adjourn the meeting, and our next meeting will be October 6th?
13th,
13th, that's right.
day of the Cardinal calling.
Yep.
Free plug for the Cardinal Center.
Okay,
All right, thanks, everybody.
thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye.